He said he had warrants for 5 people. I said, so why are you detaining the whole building? He says for the safety of our people.
Ebony Watson watched and filmed what she saw.
And all you see is this whole block full of budget rental cars,
showing a massive show of force and rental trucks used in this mission alongside ICE, FBI, and other federal agencies. The FBI called it a, quote, targeted immigration enforcement operation.
Hey, how y'all doing out there? I got some old messed up news for y'all. They finally got around to snatching up them YNs in Chicago. A lot of people glad about it, but also a lot of people sad and mad about it. A lot of people in Chicago scared about it, because they don't damn near round up all of the immigrants. And you think they just gonna pack up and leave? People in Chicago feel like they gonna be next. And this already happening.
Y'all, few black people that were so happy about them going after the Hispanic people. I told y'all, when this first started, we were next.
So I made a video a few months back, and all in my comments, people were telling me this ain't got nothing to do with African American people, this ain't got nothing to do with black people, they only rounding up the Mexicans, so on and so forth. And I kept saying, this is going to roll over into our communities, this is going to affect us in some way, shape, or form. Like, stop being so naive to make it seem like they're just targeting one group of people, because that's not the case. And then what happens in Chicago? In the middle of the night, they detain, ICE detained for several hours African American people, and not just adults, children as well. Children as well. They are detaining and then asking questions later.
In case you ain't know, them folks done ran up into an apartment complex in the middle of Chicago, and regardless of how them folks spoke, regardless of where they said they was from, regardless of how they appeared, they got thrown into a van and sent in for questioning. Some folks didn't get out until 3 a.m., and that's for the older elderly women. That means that is an illegal search. That is an illegal arrest, going into your property, search and seizure, and then sending you in for questioning. And if you had a warrant out for your arrest, you're not getting sent back. That is not normal. That is not okay.
Now, over on X, one user was sharing a message to help fellow Chicago residents defend themselves against ICE.
I am super excited to go shopping for some new fall clothes. I saw that UGG has like some really cute shoes out right now, and I am super excited. I think that they would look better with like some baggy jeans, you know, like the kind that like Taylor Swift and Cardi B wear, and then like maybe a cute little crop top, a crop, you know, sweater or something. TJ Maxx, Marshalls, maybe Macy's. See what I can find, because, you know, it's getting cold out here in these streets.
It's clear as day that the black people in Chicago play a part of making the city so bad. And it's not the people, it's the culture that been pushed on the people by the media and social media. Now they're getting taken down left and right. And even though the National Guard is active in a city, you still got black people in denial about what's happening and don't want to accept the fact that they not wanted in Chicago no more.
At this point, y'all have really pissed me off, especially you so-called influencers who are taking parts of stories coming out of Chicago and using it for fucking clickbait and engagement. Now, I have been urging my people here to pause so that they can process things. Y'all talking about them coming down on that building out south. Whole time, that building used to be predominantly black. That building was predominantly Venezuelans, okay? There are people from that neighborhood that have been complaining about that building for a year, okay? They showed y'all broken windows and shit that were already there. These are the things that y'all have to stop doing. And this is why I keep telling people here in the city, particularly black people, pause so you can process. If y'all start responding to shit out of emotion, then you don't know what the fucking play is, because you haven't had time to actually think. What people are doing are trying to get a rise out of black Chicagoans, okay? That was one incident. Then you had the guy out west that had the accident, and they pulled him out, and one of the agents was choking him, and people were recording it, okay? So again, follow-ups to all of these things, never. Nobody ever comes back with the follow-up. They talking about, oh, they're arresting black people in Chicago. All of the black people that they took from that building on the south side were released. The 37 people that they detained were all Venezuelans who were part of a particular gang. Y'all gotta stop doing that shit.
Chicago, you need to stop lying and saying, and people on this internet need to stop lying and saying that they're coming for black people. Yes, that was a building in a black community that was not majority black because it had been overran by illegal gang bangers. Let's be clear. So why everybody want to keep throwing that narrative around half of South Shore is fucking invaded by illegals. That's the truth. So don't get on here saying black people are being came for. They're coming because they're in our neighborhoods and our communities. That's why. So yes, they're going to go in buildings where black people live and sleep because they put them in buildings where black people live and sleep. South Shore, born and raised. I know what I'm talking about. Stop pushing that narrative because it's not correct.
Yeah, they been busting windows out.
Okay, because see, that's again a narrative that they done put on social media is that the ICE came and busted out y'all windows.
That's a lie.
So them windows over there right there,
They didn't bust out no window. ICE didn't bust out them windows.
These was already busted on that floor up there. Same way you saying over here. This is the building that everyone is in an uproar about. So as I said, South Shore, this is your community, your neighborhood, and this building was not majority black when the ICE came the other day. Yes, black people were affected, but this building was overran by illegal Venezuelan gangs. And I just had several conversations with residents who are moving their stuff out of here that confirmed that. So stop letting media put that false narrative in your head that somebody coming for you, because they not. You was born here. You was born on this land. Rise up and stand up on something and stop letting any and everybody tell you something.
They trying to make it seem like just because they was born in America, they more safe than anybody else that come to America, when everybody else that come to America had more advantages of the black people that was born in America. You got people out here so arrogant, so lost in the sauce, they can't even comprehend what's going on out there in Chicago. Now is not the time to marvel in your ignorance. Now is the time to start being productive people, because the National Guard there to shut all that foolishness down, whether you like it or not.
Hundreds of National Guard troops are now on the ground just outside Chicago. Garrett Tenney joins us now. He's at the ICE facility in Broadview, Illinois. When will these troops be sent into the city, and what exactly is their mission, Garrett?
Well, Stu, we're expecting them to be deployed any day now, and one of the first places we are expecting to see them is here at this ICE facility, where they will take over securing this building and freeing up federal agents to focus on Operation Midway Blitz, which began 1 month ago today. So far, close to 1,500 illegal aliens have been arrested as part of that operation, but we are told that there are still several thousand more individuals that ICE has on its target list. This morning, Border Patrol Commander Greg Bavino laid out how the National Guard is going to help.
Anything from facility protection, which frees Border Patrol agents up, ICE agents up to be out on the streets arresting criminals, and then they also act as a quick response force if we need them. And you've seen the violence in Chicago. It gets pretty hairy out there. We're glad to have those troops here supporting.
State and local officials are still trying to fight the White House on its immigration enforcement efforts any way they can, including in the courts, where today the Justice Department will explain to a judge what the National Guard will be doing and why it's necessary. The judge is expected to rule by tomorrow on a temporary injunction that would block the Guard from being deployed. Mayor Brandon Johnson argues the president isn't actually concerned with the safety of his city, an argument the Trump administration says is laughable.
What the Trump administration is doing to escalate violence in our city and cities across America is just absolutely reprehensible. The fact that he has declared war on the city of Chicago is disconcerting, to say the least.
I mean, at this point, it's almost laughable that the state government is standing up and saying, don't let the National Guard in. I mean, they have access to the same TV that I have access to. And of course we need the National Guard.
This morning, President Trump piled on Illinois leaders, posting Chicago mayor should be in jail for failing to protect ICE officers. Governor Pritzker also. And it's also worth noting that while Operation Midway Blitz was initially expected to run from 4 to 6 weeks, officials tell us it is now expected to go on for much longer than that.
People under the impression that the National Guard just gonna show up in Chicago for a couple of weeks, pack up and head back, but this gonna be a long-term thing. It's gonna be a constant presence of the National Guard, ICE, in cities like Chicago and all across America, because people don't want to take no responsibility, no accountability, and feel like it's the norm to be involved in illegal activities. Thank God for all my intelligent brothers in Chicago that know exactly what's going on and can explain it to the people like this.
See, I'm pissed off because a lot of people out there are acting like they don't understand what is actually happening in the city of Chicago in regards to the ICE raids. Let me tell you something. Black people, again, are collateral damage in this. And all the black people that are getting mad at ICE and Donald Trump, hold on, you got to get mad at the politicians right here locally, because it was the politicians right here in your city that decided to dump the migrant issue on the black community like they do every single time. When they came across the border and checked asylum, they were able to come over into our city and get incentives like medical care, 6 months free rent, free transportation, free child care. We fed them each and every day. And those people that they were giving assistance to, they didn't go up to the north side and to the white community. All of the people out there protesting that are white, they didn't open up their doors for them, and they didn't want none of the shelters on their neighborhood. Guess where they opened up the shelters? In the black community. Those same school buildings that they shut down in 2013 that were educating black kids, they took those school buildings and they made them migrant shelters. And then they gave over $700 million to a company out in Florida to manage those shelters. They took the buildings that you've been asking for to be developed and build new housing, and they made them into migrant homes, giving them 6 months of free rent. They dumped the problem on black community like they do every single time. When it was George Floyd riots, they closed downtown and pushed people to loot into the neighborhoods because they knew that people didn't care. Where was all the people right now? They weren't in our neighborhoods helping us open up back up our businesses. They were not in our neighborhoods helping us clean up. They weren't in our neighborhoods when we were fighting for Laquan McDonald, who was shot 16 times by Jason Van Dyke. I didn't see them at the protest. But now, right now, they want to make black people a part of the fight. When they made us collateral damage in the first place, we are always losing. That's why ICE is raiding buildings where black people are, is because they put them there. They pay for their rent. They pay for their food. They pay for their child care. They pay for everything, but they didn't put them where they live. They put them where black people live because they don't want to invest into the community. So that's the easiest place to dump a problem. So yes, we can say ICE is being aggressive. Yes, we know that our armed forces are always aggressive more to us. But what we can say is that our politicians did it to us. They should have never allowed them to come over here in droves like they did. And then when they did come over here, they should have never put them and dumped them in black communities, acting like we didn't want economic development, like we didn't deserve better schools and deserve community centers and deserve grocery stores. We deserve better. And our politicians need to act like it. Stop putting everything before us.
People speak about black communities like black people own the communities. Just because you live there don't mean you own or run anything. It's sort of like we're illegal immigrants in our own country. Where is all this imaginary black ownership coming from now that ICE is in Chicago cleaning up the mess? You already see the black mayor ain't have no power to do anything about it, and he the mayor. What the residents gonna do? The National Guard is there, and they ain't going nowhere.
National Guard troops from Texas have arrived here in the Chicago area. They are staging in a south suburb near Joliet.
WGN's Dana Rebick is live in Elwood tonight. What can you tell us, Dana?
Well, I want to give you a look right behind me because this is new from the last couple of hours. There are now 2 armed National Guardsmen that are standing in one of the entrances to this Army Reserve Joint Training Center, as you mentioned, in Elwood. This is just south of Joliet. You can see they're carrying rifles that have helmets on. It appears they're just sort of guarding this front entrance. We do know these are members of the Texas National Guard who flew to Illinois late yesterday and are now on site here. Since we have arrived, we have seen several soldiers walking in and out of a hangar and walking around this campus. We got some aerial views as well where we could see multiple trailers set up here. And according to the Chicago Tribune, a contractor told them that those trailers are bathrooms and showers, that soldiers will be sleeping here on site. And also a dining hall here has been set up for up to 250 people. We also saw trucks arriving here with what appeared to be metal fencing materials. There is a fence around this property, but we saw them putting up additional fencing along the road here, potentially to keep any possible protesters that show up here. We have seen one of them so far away from this property. Local officials tell us they have not received any information or any coordination from the federal government about this particular deployment, including the scale of operations or how long they will be stationed at this facility. We did have a chance to speak with Republican Cook County Board member Sean Morrison today, who is supportive of the move, and we also heard from Governor J.B. Pritzker.
We have to cooperate. It's not unreasonable. We're a country of laws. We're a country of federal law, and we have federal men and women here that are doing their jobs that they were hired to do.
It's deeply concerning. We don't know exactly where this is going to end. What we know is that it is striking fear in the hearts of everybody in Chicago. And we have residents. It's not just, this isn't just about undocumented people. This is, I mean, U.S. citizens who are brown or black are being stopped only for that reason and asked for.
U.S. Senator Dick Durbin sent a statement today that says, in part, deploying the Texas National Guard over the objections of Illinois elected officials is not only unnecessary, but it is also unlawful. National Guard personnel do not deserve to be used as political pawns in President Trump's political theater. Governor Pritzker and California Governor Gavin Newsom today said that they would remove their states from the National Governors Association if that group did not, as a whole, condemn these National Guard deployments. We also know there are around 300 federalized members of the Illinois National Guard now that have been called to report to duty as part of this mission today. Live in Elwood, Dana Rebick, WGN News.
Dana, I don't know about you, but does it seem kind of strange to see armed guards standing out there like that?
It was a bit jarring, to be honest. It looks like you can see behind me. I'll step aside one more time. You can see there's a photographer here that's taking photos of these two soldiers. We did see, again, as I mentioned, one protester. We thought it was odd that this entrance, that a gate wasn't closed. So I don't know if that's why they have them there, just in case there are any vehicles that attempt to pull in and pull onto the property, that they'll be met with those two guys.
Yeah, jarring is a perfect word for that. Thank you, Dana.
Black Americans in Chicago need to be alarmed. There's a lot of people online trying to convince the people that they ain't got nothing to worry about. I remember when COVID first hit, they was trying to say that black people was immune to it, then turned around and said black people are more likely to catch it. This the same thing that's happening in Chicago. You got people coming out talking about black people immune to ICE, and before you know it, we gonna be catching it worse than people caught the Rona. I'm starting to think they paying these people to get on social media to convince the black people in Chicago they ain't got nothing to worry about.
So the fear-mongering has got to stop. Like, y'all are saying, oh, they're deporting black Americans. No, they're not. Because of what happened in Chicago, that building was riddled with Venezuelan gang members. That's who they were targeting, and that's who they were looking for. I'm so over this rhetoric that we're immigrants and we need to be afraid. I'm so over the fear-mongering tactics. Yes, I saw the videos. I saw the news clippings of the black women saying that they were detaining kids. That shit is fucking like diabolical. It's very unfortunate and absolutely something needs to be done. We absolutely need to talk about this. We absolutely need to fucking do whatever it is we need to do to make sure that things like this are not a normal reoccurrence. However, those people were let go. Like, they didn't send them to Guantanamo Bay. And you also have to keep in mind that there are immigrants that are also black. So if you see someone getting deported that looks like me, maybe they're Caribbean and maybe they're African. So stop with the fear-mongering tactics. They went up in that building in Chicago to get the Venezuelan gang members. We've been under siege. We've been under attack. Literally. We are the blueprint for the resistance in this country. I don't think that it's okay that they use brute force against anybody, no matter your background, your hue of complexion. I'm not in agreement with that. I definitely do not fuck with touching kids, period. Like, I'm just not, none of it is okay. And I feel like when you all hear me say, you know, Black Americans aren't immigrants, or when we would be like, this is not our fight, that mostly stemmed from the fact that there has never been true solidarity between us and Latin communities. One-on-one, pockets of us, absolutely. We bang with each other in real life. Some of us are best friends. Some of us have children together. But as a collective, y'all even treat the Afro-Latinos like shit. So for me to see you all making these fear-mongering videos, it's like, come on. We've been getting detained. Y'all don't remember Stop and Search that was going on in the 90s and early 2000s? Am I saying it's okay? No, but we will continue to fight the good fight. However, we are not going to get deported by the droves, because even if you get detained, they got to run you through the system and find out who you are. So stop with the fear-mongering tactics. This is not the way to get us to come outside. And do we need to fight back? Yes, but we are not fighting for the same thing. If you know, you know. Spread love is the Brooklyn way.
Now that's what you call a distraction. I don't know what she was talking about, but as long as y'all heard it, that's why I'm here. Y'all gotta let me know how y'all feel about all this stuff. Black people getting snatched up by ICE. It's a cold world out there. Now it's being reported from people in Chicago that them YNs ain't out there in the streets like they used to be. They on their best behavior, scared, looking left and right. They ain't shooting, they ain't killing, they ain't drilling. I say that's a good thing. ICE is saving black lives. They probably need to stay there for the long haul, and I'm pretty sure they is. Ain't no way they gonna get all them troops to come all the way up to Chicago just to go all the way back to Texas. Best believe it ain't got nothing to do with no illegal immigrants. I think that's just a smokescreen so they can get to the root of the real problem. Chicago got a long history of criminal activities, but it's looking like that's finally about to be coming to an end. I don't know what the future holds, but one thing for sure, to all my people in Chicago, it's probably y'all best bet to get up out of there. But just don't come to Atlanta. I got so much love for y'all. Make sure y'all do me a favor. Subscribe to the channel too, and hit that Cash App, $ Sean Blaze Docs. And one more thing before I go.
Subscribe to my channel if that's what you want. But if that's not what you like, then you must be a punk. Hold on now, here we go. Who is this girl? She got that junk in her trunk. Baby girl, back it up, poke out your rump. It's S.A.T. that you want. And